Have you ever fallen for a self-help program that ended up being a scam? If so, you're not alone. Although many attempted to profit off too good to be true weight loss programs, none were as crazy as Kevin Trudeau. Trudeau is most well known for his book, The Weight Loss Cure. They don't want you to know about. This book was an absolute scam and promoted a weight loss program that included a 500-calorie diet, frequent colonics, and under-the-table injections. After thousands of customer complaints, the Federal Trade Commission stepped in to assist customers in 2004. A judge ruled that Trudeau had to pay $32 million back to consumers who purchased his book, but then he vanished into thin air. For the next 10 years, Trudeau played a game of cat and mouse with the U.S. government. How did Trudeau duck the government for that long? Kevin's story begins in 1981, when he graduated from St. Mary's High School in Lynn, Massachusetts, and was voted most likely to succeed. After high school, Trudeau began a short career as a car salesman before getting involved in his first scheme a few years later. The young con artist offered seminars on techniques to improve memory. Trudeau saw the inside of a prison cell for the first time in 1990 when he was caught impersonating a doctor to cash $80,000 in worthless checks. According to the world's best liar, he pled guilty and served less than a month in prison. In 1991, Trudeau stole credit card data from 11 of his customers and racked up over $120,000 in charges. He'd been running the same scheme, according to the official indictment, since 1984. Presumably, he got those credit card numbers from people who attended his memory seminars or bought cars off him. This scheme got Trudeau locked up for 2 years. The wordsmith had excuses prepared for his doctor masquerade and credit card schemes. Apparently, it was all a big misunderstanding. According to Trudeau, the checks resulted from a math error and a mistake by a bank representative. In addition, the reason that the bank thought he was a doctor was due to a joke he made with the teller. He then claimed the credit card scam was because he missed a utility payment and nobody would give him a credit card. So he just started faking social security numbers until he got one, or 11. As soon as Trudeau was out of prison, he was quickly back at it, this time running a pyramid scheme. Nutrition for Life was a multi-level marketing company started by Trudeau and his former cellmate. Their scheme worked quite well until civil cases were brought against them in 7 states. A judge in Illinois ordered that Nutrition for Life and Trudeau paid back $185,000 to victims. After a short career in multi-level marketing, Trudeau was on to the next scheme and began hosting late-night infomercial shows selling all sorts of medicinal supplements. It's these infomercials that shot Trudeau up the star chart. Trudeau had a notoriety for selling these too-good-to-be-true products that offered instant gratification on debt, weight loss, and cures for ailments. It looks like Trudeau got up to his old tricks, posing as a doctor. By 1998, Trudeau was everywhere, including the Federal Trade Commission's radar. The FTC had received numerous complaints about the late-night infomercials that sold products or services that misrepresented themselves. It's the job of the FTC to protect consumers and the First Amendment. When the FTC steps in, it is usually to help determine if a company or individual used language that is not protected by the First Amendment. In the case against Trudeau, it was clear he had deceived customers, lied about studies related to products, and made inaccurate claims about the product's effectiveness. As a result, the FTC and Trudeau settled. Trudeau was banned from selling any health-related products on late-night TV. The loophole, and this is important for later, is that Trudeau was still allowed to sell books. In addition, Trudeau agreed to pay $2 million to the FTC to pay back customers. $180,000 came from handing over his Mercedes-Benz. The ads that got him in trouble included a coral calcium product that can cure cancer and other serious diseases. If you think that the FTC's ruling slowed Trudeau's business, you'd be sorely mistaken. The now exposed fake doctor still had plenty of adoring fans for reasons we can't begin to understand. It seemed like no matter how many times Trudeau got caught, he always had people supporting him through thick and thin. A lot of these adoring fans learned about Trudeau when they came across his books and publications. Trudeau's most famous book, Natural Cures, They Don't Want You to Know About, was a New York Times bestseller for 16 weeks in a row, with, according to Trudeau, millions of copies sold. This book made some controversial claims, including that the government purposely hid these secrets from the general public. These secrets including cutting out microwaves, dryers, and swimming pools to live a healthier life. In addition to prevent cancer, one should stop using deodorant, nonstick cookware, and watching the news. But that is not even the best part. Trudeau also claims that enemas are the key to true health. That's right, enemas. Maybe Mike and Trina from My Strange Addiction read Trudeau's book and got their inspiration. A year later, Trudeau published another book, The Weight Loss Cure They Don't Want You to Know About, which made even more bold claims, including that readers could easily lose 30 pounds in 30 days with minimal change to their lifestyle. Better yet, at the end of the diet, users could eat whatever they wanted and would not gain weight. This claim was bold, controversial, and would cost Trudeau $37 million. Like his first book, this one was full of wild health claims and cures for the worst diseases. The book was centered around HCG, also known as the pregnancy hormone. Back then, it was accessible as a dietary supplement. As of 2020, HCG is only attainable with a prescription. At the time, Trudeau claimed his miracle supplement was easy and that it allowed readers to eat whatever they wanted after the treatment was complete. The kicker was that while taking HCG, you had to stick to a 500 calorie per day diet. Any dietitian would tell you that, yes, you will lose weight if you only take in 500 calories a day, but doing that long term obviously is unhealthy. Trudeau would go on to publish more books, including More Natural Cures Revealed, Debt Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, and Your Wish is Your Command. These books promise more health, wealth, and material goods than you could imagine. Fast and easy weight loss, free government money, and taking one natural remedy and that will cure all ailments sounds great in theory, but what about real science? The answer? Trudeau was a snake oil salesman pushing products that had no valid scientific backing whatsoever. Doctors, scientists, government officials were tired of hearing about Trudeau, and his customers were dissatisfied with their purchases. Trudeau was a TV mogul and had amassed a lot of money selling books, infomercials, and products. Even with the sizable legal expenses, he still had a lot of money to invest in new projects. One of these was billiards. That's right, pool. Trudeau started the International Pool Tour, IPT, in 2005 and wanted to bring billiards to the top of the sports arena. However, his attempt would quickly fail and backfire. The first 3 events were a success. The first event put the best male and best female players toe-to-toe to see who was the best billiards player. Trudeau's Pro League was a hit among the billiards community, and the first 3 tours went off without a hitch. But players got some bad news at the 4th IPT World Tour in Reno, Nevada. The tour didn't have enough money to pay out the promised prizes, and winners were told they received their prize money in small installments, but most never saw a dime. In a New York Times opinion piece, the commenter noted the pool hustler wasn't murdered by a single suspect, but the last man holding the knife was Kevin Trudeau. Kevin couldn't stay off the FTC's radar. His outlandish claims and bogus books had him in and out of courtrooms. At this point, our story continues in 2007, where Trudeau found himself in deeper water. After multiple years of going back and forth with the FTC, Trudeau continued to ignore the court's order to stop marketing his books on TV infomercials. As a result, the FTC filed a contempt of court order against Trudeau. The court ruled that Trudeau clearly misrepresents in his advertisements the difficulty of the diet described in his book, and by doing so, he has misled thousands of customers. In August 2007, the court decided to fine Trudeau over $5 million to pay back customers who his infomercials had deceived. In addition, the judgment also banned Trudeau from appearing in infomercials for 3 years. The FTC determined a few things about the books that were untrue. For starters, the diet was not easy and could not be done at home. Trudeau's diet required colonics and human growth hormones. These must be administered by a doctor and are expensive. The FTC argued that this was by no means easy and could not be done at home. Further, the diet was marketed as being complete at the end of 30 days. However, phase 4 was for the rest of your life. The FTC determined that the diet can be completed at all was a lie. Finally, in his book's marketing, Trudeau claims that once complete, the reader can eat anything they want. The FTC concluded that this was not true because Phase 4 banned readers from eating brand name food, non-organic food, fast food, and food from chain restaurants. And even still, Trudeau does not stop. He continued to publish infomercials and marketing his books through direct marketing like mail. In November 2008, the court increased the judgment from $5 million to $37 million. After numerous appeals, the high courts upheld the lower cost of $37 million judgment and ordered Trudeau to pay up. Trudeau claimed that he had been wiped clean of money, and there was no way he could pay $37 million despite claiming millions of books sold. The court was not buying anything Trudeau claimed and eventually assigned an investigator to determine the value of Trudeau's assets and holdings. $37 million in debt to the government and a lengthy prison sentence awaiting him, Trudeau skipped town. He was found by ABC investigative journalist Bill Weir in Zurich wearing designer clothes and living a lavish lifestyle despite telling the court he was broke. In addition, he was a member of a group he called the Global Information Network, or GIN for short. GIN was an exclusive club of billionaires, world leaders, and other top minds. Trudeau claimed he had access to the inner circle of GIN and would share those secrets on wealth, health, and happiness, all for the low price of $1,000 plus $150 a month. In addition, members could achieve higher levels of access to GIN by purchasing into higher level brackets. These brackets ranged from 1 to 6 and could cost as much as $100,000 to join. When Bill Weir found Trudeau in Zurich, Trudeau maintained the position that he didn't lead GIN. Instead, he was just a member of the club along with everyone else. However, he failed to name any other members of the secret organization. Trudeau used his wife to conceal assets. He used GIN as his personal piggy bank, and he refused to cooperate with the investigator appointed by the court. These mistakes would eventually land Trudeau in prison. After trying to argue that friends and family owned all his assets, the court determined that Kevin Trudeau was the true ringleader and ordered the counts and assets frozen. In addition, he was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison for contempt of court. After years of trying to collect monetary judgments against him, the government finally locked him up. Trudeau was unable to pay for his defense attorney, so they refused to help him. Trudeau served his time in federal prison camp Montgomery in Alabama, and Montgomery housed notable inmates like Jeff Skeen, the disgraced CEO of Enron, and Michael Brown, a DC council member who accepted bribes. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, Kevin Trudeau is currently housed in Chicago and is set to be freed in June 2022. Recently, Trudeau wrote a letter to the judge who sentenced him regarding his upcoming relapse. He wrote about various topics, including what he can and cannot do once released. He claims that his lawyers will not talk to him because he could not pay them due to the judge freezing his assets. Trudeau has compared himself to Nelson Mandela, stating his imprisonment was false. Said, Trudeau wrote, "I want to be held in contempt again," followed by a smiley face. Trudeau continued by asking if he is allowed to earn money outside of prison. He also asked if he was allowed to receive donations and gifts from supporters. Even today, Trudeau maintains a cult following from his prison cell. Only time will tell what is next for Trudeau, but if history tells us anything, he's probably got another scam up his sleeve. After all, he had 10 years to sit and think about his next big idea. Click here to watch one of these next videos.